This exciting story begins 3,000 years ago, at a time when humans hadn't developed their technology much. The entire human civilization had only recently evolved from monkeys. One day, many people saw something glowing in the sky, which appeared to be coming towards Earth. Everyone thought it was another planet about to collide with Earth, so they started fleeing in fear. As the light got closer, a boy was drawn to it, and he went so close to the unknown object that he almost touched it. It was later discovered that it was an advanced spaceship from aliens from another world. Years passed, and by the time it was 1980, we are shown a mining field where many archaeologists were working. They found several ancient artifacts buried deep in the ground, which had been there for ages. This was around the time when many pyramids had already been built in Egypt, and their technology was advancing rapidly. Using this technology, the archaeologists began to uncover these items, learning more about their history. Along with the ancient artifacts, they also discovered dangerous alien skeletons, confirming that there were planets beyond Earth, and these aliens must have come from those planets. We are then introduced to Catherine, the daughter of the head researcher. Catherine finds a golden locket at one of the sites, and without telling anyone, she keeps it for herself. A lot of time passes after these events, and we are now introduced to Jackson, a linguistic officer. He was skilled in speaking various types of languages, including ancient ones. Jackson then gives a speech where he claims that the pyramids in Egypt were not built by humans but by advanced aliens who must have come from another planet. However, many people dismissed Jackson's words, thinking he was just trying to gain fame, and they left without showing any interest. But now, an older woman named Catherine arrives at the location. In fact, she is the same girl we saw at the beginning of the story who had found the golden locket. Now, this older Catherine goes to Jackson and says that she is the owner of a large company, but she is still working on the same project she was involved in years ago, the project about studying the ancient artifacts they had found buried underground. Catherine is impressed by Jackson's skills, and she invites him to join her team. Jackson can't pass up such a big opportunity, so he agrees to the job. Catherine takes Jackson to meet the rest of the members of her company. Inside the headquarters, on the boat, there are many writings about the conversion of ancient languages. As soon as Jackson sees them, he starts correcting them because many of the translations are wrong. It becomes clear that Jackson has been interested in these things for a long time. Soon after, a colonel enters the laboratory and says that he should be informed about the mission since he is now the second in command of the organization. A little later, Jackson is shown an ancient stone that was found many years ago in Egypt. This is the same large stone that had a circular structure on top. The stone was covered with several ancient languages, which were difficult to understand. Jackson tries his best, but he can only translate a few words. Frustrated, he sits down when he notices a man reading a newspaper. On the back page of the newspaper, there is an article about the Orion Belt, and as soon as Jackson sees it, an idea strikes him. He takes the paper and begins comparing the information about the Orion Belt with the markings on the stone. Soon, he confirms that these symbols are related to the Orion Belt because it has long been believed that Egypt's pyramids are somehow connected to the stars in the sky. Jackson starts linking the Orion Belt with the things that are inscribed on the ancient stone. After reaching a conclusion, Jackson goes to share his findings with his teammates. He creates a three-dimensional cube in which he places the stars and connects different points to form a center, creating a three-dimensional space. By reaching the center, one could travel anywhere, which means it could potentially function like a time machine. At that moment, one of Jackson's teammates asks where the eighth point is that would complete the structure. Jackson quickly answers that the eighth point is none other than Earth itself. As Jackson continued discussing, he realized that they had also uncovered a large circular structure deep underground, and this structure might be connected to the ancient signals they were studying. Catherine then takes Jackson to see the large structure. When Jackson looks at the symbols on the circular structure, he notices that they are identical to the ones on the stone. Jackson understands that these symbols are scattered across different locations, so he begins to arrange them on the structure. As he arranged the symbols, suddenly the circular structure activates, and a wormhole appears inside it. Seeing the wormhole, everyone becomes excited, thinking that it might be a passage to another world. Now, they needed to figure out what lay on the other side of the wormhole. To do this, Catherine's team inserts a tracking device into the wormhole. The device slowly moves through the wormhole, and soon, the screen shows the location it reached. Shockingly, it was in another dimension, far from Earth and our galaxy. This discovery suggested that their experiment could create history. After conducting some research, the colonel and the rest of the team realized that just as there was a circular gate on Earth, there was also a Stargate in another universe. By activating both gates, one could travel from one place to another. But the biggest challenge they faced was that the Stargate in the other world had symbols created in a completely different type of language. If anyone went there and couldn't understand or properly arrange the symbols, they would never be able to return through the Stargate. However, Jackson reassures everyone, saying that he can figure it out if he is given some time. He promises to decode the ancient languages and arrange them correctly. Seeing Jackson's confidence, the Colonel agrees, and along with his team, they prepare to enter the Stargate. After gathering various weapons and essential supplies, they begin to step through the wormhole one by one. Before leaving, Catherine gives Jackson the golden locket that she had found years ago. Slowly, one by one, all the soldiers go into the wormhole with Jackson. Once they arrive, they notice the surroundings are completely dark. As they venture a little further, they are stunned to find that they are standing in front of a massive pyramid, surrounded by a barren, lifeless landscape. The Colonel sets up camp with his soldiers and begins gathering supplies. When Jackson observes the circular structure, he brings some shocking news. He tells everyone that just as there was an ancient stone inside the Stargate on Earth, which helped him decode the languages, he is unable to find such a stone in this world. Without that stone, he won't be able to understand the ancient languages. The Colonel becomes angry because if the stone is not found, it means they will be stuck here forever. Jackson, however, is helpless in this situation, and the Colonel's soldiers become angry with him as well, throwing his belongings around. Jackson, feeling defeated, sits down in a corner. Suddenly, Jackson notices footprints in the sand. He follows the tracks, which lead him to a strange creature bound with ropes. When Jackson approaches the creature, he finds it very strange, as he has never seen such an animal before. However, since it is tied with ropes, Jackson understands that it must be a domesticated creature. He quickly tells the soldiers not to attack it. As Jackson strikes the creature 3 times, it suddenly bolts away at high speed. Jackson's foot gets tangled in the rope, and he is dragged along with the animal. The Colonel and the rest of the soldiers chase after Jackson, managing to catch up with him. However, they come across a large settlement where humans, or rather humanoid beings, are living. Their technology and way of life appear to be very ancient, almost as though they had regressed hundreds of years in time. Jackson and the soldiers continue toward the settlement, and the tribal people begin staring at them. When they notice the golden locket Jackson is wearing, they are immediately shocked. The entire tribe kneels before Jackson and his group. Jackson is confused by their behavior and doesn't understand why they are treating him this way. Soon after, the tribe's leader arrives and invites Jackson and his team to follow him. The group is led to a place where rituals are performed. The tribe leader shows them a circular symbol, identical to the structure on the golden locket. This symbol represents their Messiah, and the tribe believes that Jackson and his companions must be the people sent by their Messiah to protect them. As a result, they shower Jackson and his group with hospitality, treating Jackson, who wears the golden locket, like a revered guest. Jackson is given the best treatment, and soon, the tribe begins performing a ritual on him. Jackson is sent to a private room to rest, but shortly afterward, the tribe leader's daughter enters the room. She starts to undress in an attempt to please Jackson, but he quickly refuses, saying that there is no need for that. Since the tribe doesn't speak human languages, Jackson tries to communicate with the leader's daughter using symbols. He draws a pyramid to explain the time period he comes from and the purpose of his journey. It seems that the tribe leader's daughter may have understood Jackson's words, as she draws a circle on the pyramid, which could represent a star. Jackson realizes that she may know the location of a place where many constellations are visible above a pyramid. These constellations could be used to open a path back to his world, and with their help, Jackson could also decipher the ancient languages inscribed on the Stargate in this world. Jackson then requests the leader's daughter to guide him to that place. She leads him through the area, and Jackson starts studying the inscriptions on the walls, gathering a lot of information. Afterward, he joins the Colonel and the other soldiers to inform them about his findings. Jackson explains that these things were the work of a dangerous alien. Years ago, an alien left its planet and civilization to roam the universe. This alien, who sought to become the most powerful being in the world, finally reached Earth. When the alien arrived in its spaceship, many people fled in fear, but there was one man who was not afraid and approached the alien, becoming attracted to it. Eventually, the alien took control of this man and entered his body, assuming a human form. The alien, now in human form, used its technology to control humanity and built large pyramids. It was this alien who also created the Stargates, using them to teleport humans from his world to Earth, where they were forced to work. Over time, however, humans on Earth developed and eventually rebelled against the alien, forcing it to leave. The Stargates were buried underground to keep them hidden. Jackson now reveals that he has found the stone with the symbols, and using these symbols, he can finally decode the ancient languages on the Stargate and arrange them properly, opening a way out. The problem remains unsolved because one of the key symbols is completely broken, and without the complete set of symbols, Jackson won't be able to decode the ancient language and properly arrange them to activate the Stargate. This becomes a critical issue for their mission. Meanwhile, a huge spaceship lands near the pyramid. It's highly advanced, and strange aliens begin to emerge from it. The colonel had stationed some of his men to secure the area, but the aliens attack, killing several soldiers. Jackson, the colonel, and a few others decide to gather information and head toward the spaceship. The tribe leader's daughter, who had been assigned to Jackson, follows them as well. They arrive at the enormous pyramid-like spaceship, which is much larger than they expected. Upon entering, the group is immediately attacked by the aliens. Although several soldiers are injured, the colonel and Jackson manage to escape and reach the lower levels of the spaceship. However, before they can figure anything out, the aliens capture them and take them to their leader. In front of them stands the alien king, who gradually transforms into a human form. This is the same boy shown at the beginning of the story, whose body was taken over by the alien many years ago. Despite the passing years, the boy appears as young as ever. In this galaxy, the alien, now known as Kral, is worshipped as a god, and he has always wanted to rule over everyone. At Kral's command, his soldiers bring in a nuclear bomb. The colonel and his team had already planned to use this bomb to wipe out the alien civilization. However, Kral is already aware of their plan. In a fit of rage, the colonel grabs a weapon from one of the soldiers, intent on killing Kral. But just as he is about to fire, Kral is surrounded by several children, preventing the colonel from shooting. In the next moment, Kral's soldiers overpower and knock out the colonel and Jackson. Kral orders that the colonel be imprisoned. He is clearly very angry and frustrated by the situation. Therefore, he sent some flying machines from his pyramid to the human settlements, which began attacking them relentlessly. Many humans lost their lives in this attack. The king of the settlements couldn't understand why their gods weren't protecting them, and the entire tribe had become helpless. Now, Jackson is shown emerging from a strange chamber. This was a recovery chamber, a technology so advanced that it could heal all wounds and even revive dead people. This technology had evolved a lot by this time, which is why Kral had been able to keep himself so young. Now Kral comes in front of Jackson and tells him, "I am going to destroy your world with the same nuclear bomb you brought to kill us. But this time, I've enhanced the bomb's power by 10 times. With my technology, and I will send it through the Stargate to your Earth and obliterate the entire world." Jackson asks, "Why do you want to do this?" Kral explains, "I taught the people of Earth how to use technology, but they rebelled against me. So now, I want to erase my creation." Kral then tells Jackson that in some time, all the tribes will gather in front of the pyramid. So, he orders Jackson to kill all his companions. Jackson replies, "What will you do if I don't?" Kral warns him, "Then you will never live again, and your Earth will be destroyed too." Jackson becomes a little scared and begins to think about it. After a while, all the tribes gather in front of the pyramid. Kral then tells Jackson, "You must kill your companions quickly." Jackson feels there is no other option, so he begins walking toward his companions with a weapon. But just then, a signal comes from among the tribespeople telling Jackson that they have weapons and are with him. In fact, the king's daughter had discovered that Kral was not their god. Instead, he had been attacking them and wanted to destroy them all. She had shared this information with all the tribe members. Now, the entire tribe was on Jackson's side. Jackson immediately understands the situation and begins attacking Kral and his companions. The tribe members who had guns started firing them into the air, causing everyone to run for their lives. All the captured soldiers were now rescued, and together with the tribe members, they reached a safe place where everyone was very happy because they had started a rebellion. The colonel confesses to everyone that it was his mistake. He had brought the nuclear bomb here, thinking that if any danger arose, he would send everyone back and then detonate the nuclear bomb. The people began to respect the colonel more for his honesty. Now, Jackson discovered that the ritual performed last time had led to his marriage with the king's daughter. Jackson had also started to love her deeply. But now, the king's daughter made a strange symbol, with 3 stars on top of the pyramid. Jackson understood all the symbols and immediately said, "I have found the final symbol, and now after arranging these symbols properly, we can go to our world through the Stargate." So, the colonel and his soldiers get ready to reach the Stargate. We now see that one of Kral's men is torturing people from the tribe. But the colonel arrives and kills Kral's alien. The tribe members become very scared, thinking that their god might be angry with them. The colonel and Jackson remove the alien's disguise, revealing that it wasn't an alien at all but a human who had been fooling them for years by wearing costumes. After this revelation, the fear of Kral completely disappears from the tribe members. The colonel, Jack, and the other soldiers somehow manage to enter the pyramid, fighting off the aliens they encounter. Finally, they reach the Stargate, which will allow them to return to their Earth. The colonel tells Jackson, "You need to open the gate quickly and go to your world. I will stay here and detonate the nuclear bomb to finish my mission." But suddenly, some aliens arrive from behind and attack. During the attack, the king's daughter is killed. Jackson immediately picks her up and rushes to save her. Just then, a teleportation machine arrives, and one of Kral's soldiers descends. Jackson knows how to use the teleportation device, so he quickly steps under it, teleporting upwards, while the alien soldier lands below. The colonel is busy handling the alien soldier, trying to prevent it from damaging the Stargate. Meanwhile, Jackson takes the dead king's daughter into a magical chamber, where she is revived in just a few minutes. As they are about to leave, Kral notices Jackson, and he places his hand on him, sending powerful electric shocks through his body. Despite the excruciating pain, Jackson manages to get the king's daughter into the teleportation device and teleports away. The colonel continues to fight the alien soldier below, and in the next moment, the teleportation machine descends, but when the soldier tries to move, half of its body is teleported to another location. Luckily, Jackson arrives safely below with the king's daughter. Outside, all the tribe members have gathered to attack the alien. Kral realizes that he has no control over the situation and that he has lost the battle for now. He starts to ascend into the air in his massive spaceship. Meanwhile, Jackson and the colonel are unsure of how to deactivate the nuclear bomb, as Kral had made it extremely powerful. Jackson then manages to get the bomb into the teleportation device, which teleports directly to Kral's chamber. Kral sees something coming from the teleportation machine and assumes it is a person trying to end him. However, he soon realizes that it is the nuclear bomb, which explodes within seconds, destroying Kral's massive spaceship completely. After all these years, the tribes are finally freed from the dangerous alien. With their mission completed, the colonel and the soldiers open the Stargate to return to their world. However, Jackson now realizes that he is in love with the king's daughter. And he decides to stay in this world with her. Before leaving, Jackson gives the golden locket to the colonel, asking him to return it to Catherine. All the soldiers then use the Stargate to return to Earth, and with that, the story comes to an end.